Good evening. Welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Kasuni Balachandra.
Good evening, I'm Stephen Dialwis. Let's take a look at the top stories for tonight.
The first batch of tourists arrive in the island under the pilot project to reopen the country for tourists. The President reiterates to halt irregularities committed in purchasing farmers' produce including turmeric and maize. The MILCO company records a profit exceeding 400 million rupees this year. Many countries introduced new laws following detection of new variants of the coronavirus.
Moving on to those and other stories in detail. The first batch of tourists have arrived in the country from the Maktala Rajapaksa International Airport today under the pilot project to reopen the country for tourists. The PG-555 Skyup aircraft carrying 186 tourists from Kyiv City, Ukraine was welcomed upon arrival by a group comprising Minister Prasanna Ranatunga and State Minister D.V. Chanaka. A special feature has been the inclusion of 20 Ukrainian infants among the passengers. The airport was closed down for international air traffic on the 19th of March this year as a result of eruption of the COVID-19 pandemic. Accordingly, not a single tourist has arrived in the island in the past 9 months. However, special air cargo transportation operations have been maintained. Due to the imposition of the ban, livelihood of nearly 3 million persons who depend directly or indirectly on tourism industry was severely affected. Therefore, measures have been taken to bring back tourists once again under strict health guidelines through the instructions of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The program is being implemented through mediation of Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Elimination of Poverty, Basil Rajapaksa, and Minister of Tourism, Prasanna Ranatunga. The Cabinet has granted approval to a joint Cabinet paper submitted by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Minister Prasanna Ranatunga to bring tourists of the Russian Republic to the island. A relevant code of health protocols has been prepared by the Ministry of Health in this connection. The Ukrainian tourists who arrived in the island today have been subjected to PCR tests 72 hours prior to their commencement of the journey.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed the state minister in charge and relevant officials to intervene immediately to prevent irregularities alleged to have been committed in purchasing the crop harvest of farmers including turmeric and maize. The President has also decided to completely ban the utilizing of corn in the production of alcohol and ethanol. The local farmers have successfully cultivated turmeric and corn this season on the request of the President. They are on the verge of reaping a harvest. The President has stressed that all farmers should be given a reasonable price for their produce. The President has instructed officials to carry out raids through full intervention of the state to prevent hoarding of stocks and other illegal measures by traders. The President has also pointed out the need to have a proper program to accumulate seeds of high standards for cultivations in 2021 and 2022. The President has also given orders to destroy stocks of turmeric illegally imported by errant businessmen. He has also ordered the Director General of the Customs and the IGP to implement the law sternly against the culprits. The President has also ordered the Commissioner of Excise to issue a Gazette notification fully prohibiting the use of maize in alcohol and ethanol production. He has also reiterated the need to guarantee an extensive market for stockists of grains such as corn, as well as cowpea, black gram, green gram, sesame and kurakang, rather than giving them loans. The President has also instructed banks to identify the relevant businessmen and to maintain details on stocks for which they are to be extended credit. All district secretaries, divisional secretaries, agrarian services, commissioners and all officials in the field level should effectively purchase farmers' produce and strengthen the farming community. He has also instructed the officials to remain vigilant on disease caused by pests such as the armyworm disease.
The epidemiology unit says that the number of fully cured COVID-19 patients has reached 32,221. 520 more fully cured patients have left hospitals yesterday. 150 fully cured corona patients have left the COVID-19 center in Polonnaruwa today. All of them were residents of the Colombo, Gampa, Kurunangala, Anuradhapura and Kandy districts. 16,331 COVID-19 recoveries have been reported in the country since the beginning of this month until today. The highest number of COVID-19 recoveries recorded in a day was reported on December 16th. Accordingly, 785 recoveries were reported on that day. Meanwhile, a total of 520 COVID-19 recoveries were reported today. The percentage of fully recovered patients has increased to 80.21% or 33,221 patients. Accordingly, 19.33% or 8,008 patients are undergoing treatment. Meanwhile, another 366 COVID-19 patients were identified in the island today. All of them were identified as close associates of the patients in the Paliagoda cluster. 11,060 PCR tests were conducted yesterday. Accordingly, the total number of PCR tests up to now has reached 1,216,632. 4 more COVID-related deaths were reported from the island yesterday. The victims were aged 66, 75, 78 and 52 years. They were residents of Pitakote, Ragama, Kadavada and Vaunia. Gynecologist specialist Dr. Mayuramana Devalage says that every pregnant mother should always follow proper health instructions in order to prevent affliction of the coronavirus disease. 200 persons in 5 Grama Seva divisions have been placed on self-quarantine following detection of 25 COVID-19 patients in Rakbana. 34 more COVID-19 patients have been reported from Kumarimulla, Pugoda. A total number of 70 COVID-19 patients have been detected in the village. Another 22 COVID-19 patients were found from villages in Ahliagoda which were isolated yesterday. So far, 407 corona patients have been reported from Ahliagoda. Meanwhile, the isolation status imposed in Dam Street, Kesalvatha and Maradana police divisions in Colombo have been withdrawn with effect from this morning. The Gurasinghapura main bus stand has been reopened for transport today. Activists have also resumed since this morning at the temporarily closed down Maradana railway station. The passengers were seen following protective health guidelines. The isolated status in Vakanda and Hunipitiya Grama divisions in Slave Island as well as Mayura Place in Vallavatta police division and Halgahavatta and Kalipulavatta in the Borala police division have also been removed with effect from 5 a.m. this morning. The other areas where the isolation status withdrawn were Laksanda Sevana housing scheme in the Valampitiya police division and the Halsdorf East and West Grama divisions in the Kesalvatha police division in the Colombo district. Medical officer of the Ambagamo MOH office, Krishan Pemasiri, says that travel restrictions have been imposed in the Mount Gin plantations in Vattavala, Hatton.
Chairman of the MILCO company Lasantha Vikramasinghe says that his institution has earned a profit exceeding 400 million rupees this year. He further says that the aim is to increase the profit margin by more than 1,000 million rupees by next year. The MILCO, which was affiliated to the National Milk Board since the year 1974, is the hallmark of Highland quality milk product of the nation. However, due to mismanagement in the previous regime, the MILCO Institute has experienced a loss of over 2,000 million rupees in the past 3 years. The confidence of the milk farmers on the institution has collapsed. The company was unable to pay for the products in time. The present government, after coming into power, has rectified this mistake by paying a reasonable price to farmers for their fresh dairy produce. The MILCO company has been able to save a massive amount of money due to the state policy to withdraw the nation-building tax and the economic service charge. Chairman Lasantha Vikramasinghe further says that one of the prime objectives of the company is to uplift the milk farmer.
The government has focused attention to locally produced radioactive drugs to be used in the treatment of cancer patients. It has been planned to enter into an agreement of understanding in this connection with relevant institutions by the 15th of next month. Attention has been focused on the issue in a recent discussion conducted under the leadership of State Minister Duminda Disanayak and Channajai Sumana. It has been pointed out that a sum of 54,000 rupees is being spent on the importation of radioactive drugs for treatment on a single patient. However, it has also been found out that the same drug could be manufactured locally at a cost of only 14,000 rupees.
That's it for the news this evening. Have a good night.
Good night.